It's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. This time it's for the Stamp Around UK video hop, so please do check out the description. There'll be loads of links in there for all the other participants in our hop this month. So 1st of July, here we go, and our theme is black and gold. Now normally at this point I'm showing you a sample of what I've already made. There is no sample of what I've already made this time. A couple of reasons for that. One, this is a little on the last minute side, and two, this is all the gold cardstock I have. Making two cards out of this would have been challenging, shall we say. And I only have so much full sheets of black as well. I have lots of scraps, but not big sheets. So, limited supplies and short on time. We're just going to go straight for it this time around, so you can go along the bumps along the road with me with the crafting today. But what I think I am going to use though is the Simply Said stamp set, and I want to just use the Thinking of You. I just want to make it a nice and simple card, and I think I'm going to do a nice gold embossed background with Leaf Collection. Sentiment we're going to cut with these lovely, I think they're actually called, oh no, Labelled with Love. That's what they're called. I thought they were called Lovely Label for a minute then. This set of dies coordinates with the Labelled with Love stamp set, of course. And this is one of the bundles that you can choose to have either dies or a punch with. I have the dies. Okay, so obviously the beauty of that is that I can cut three things at the same time, which I might actually need to do. So we'll be using that as well. Okay, now I have pulled out the Thoughtful Wishes dies as well. Not sure if I'm going to use these yet, but they're on standby in case I want some flourishes or whatever. Okay, so as I say, limited supplies, so I had enough cardstock to make a card base in black. Didn't have enough gold for a layer, so my substitute is some wild wheat. Okay, so wild wheat is a great sub for gold. Okay, and we're going to have another black layer on top. Okay, so we've got let me see, is this, I think this was 3.5 by 5 1/4. No, this was 3.5 by 5 1/4. Yep, and then I made the black layer a little smaller. So this is the one we're going to emboss on to create a nice background. And then we'll use our real gold for our accents. Okay, so this is our lovely foil cardstock, and it's not a bright, really shiny gold. It's almost got a bit of a, I don't know, sheen to it. It's yeah, it's very nice, very nice. And I have a scrap of black here for the sentiment. Okay, so let's put those to one side for a sec. And the other thing I want to show you is the embossing additions kit. So you get the tray. It does have a little thing on there to screw that on, which I do have in the drawer there, but I tend to keep it off because I need to funnel out my my powder. Get these great reversible tweezers, which are going to be great because we can just hold on to the cardstock while we're heating it, and we're not going to burn our fingers. Great little brush. It's a very, very nice and small brush, but has quite stiff bristles on it, so they all move away any of that excess powder. And we've got our embossing buddy. This is like, it's got powder in it, which removes excess oil and grease and moisture from the cardstock. Okay, so it is kind of white, so it will sort of make that look a little dull in the first instance, and I'm just going to use the brush to wipe off some of that excess. Probably shouldn't handle it too much, I'd probably use my tweezers there. Just wiping off that excess a little bit, and then when we're finished we'll wipe it over with a cloth and just brighten up all that embossing. So I don't want to be handling that too much now. I've got the powder on there. But we have a new supplier of embossing powder, and I haven't tried it yet. I've bought it. Okay, so the embossing powders, we had the basics. That was clear, white and black. Okay, but we now have them from Wow. Okay, so here they are. We have clear gloss, opaque bright white, and primary ebony in the Wow embossing powders is what we're going to say. Okay, so those are the basics. Okay, and I will be marking the tops of those, I think, just so that I can tell what they are from the top, because they sit in a drawer. And then we've got metallic copper, polished silver, and our metallic gold rich. Okay, so those are the metallics. So you get a set of 3 in each of those packs. And this is brand spanking new. Oh, I thought that was going to be sealed. Right, I thought that was going to be stuck to the top. So I thought I was going to have to take that off. But it's come up at the same time. Now that looks fab even in the bottle. Okay, so I've never used Wow embossing powders before, but I know they are ones that are high quality. So let's get moving. Let's see. Right, so of course we're going to need to have Versamark ink, clear sticky ink that we can use for our embossing. I'm going to need some scrap paper as well. That will do. Okay, let's get the sentiment done. Okay, and get that inked up with this pad. So I tend to try and do it in lots of different directions. It's a very spongy ink pad. Just want to make sure I get it all covered. And we'll get that popped over there. Just make sure it's got good contact. And because it is a sticky ink, you want to get that off your stamp as quickly as possible. So I'm just going to give that a quick wipe and leave it on my little chamois there. Okay, and then we can, because I'm going to be die cutting that out, I'm just going to hold that by the at the edge there. We can just sprinkle our powder over the top of that before it dries. It's slow drying, so we shouldn't have too much of a problem there. Okay, and then we'll just can wipe away any excess that goes on there, but the anti-static powder tool should minimise the amount of excess powder that you've got, and that looks lovely. Okay, not heating it yet though, so I'm just going to pop that delicately to one side. Just leave that open for a second because we're going to do our little background panel here. Okay, so just debating whether to put this over the because I'm going to yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out my excuse me, bring out my background stamp and lay it onto my surface. Okay, and then we're going to get that inked up really well. And in my light, I can see that that's, oh actually you can probably see a little bit the way that light's shining on there, that I can see that it's gone glossy. So I can see where the ink has been. Now, we won't be using a stamp positioning tool. If you've got one and you want to use it, go ahead, which means you'll be able to have 2 goes at getting the ink on. We're just going to go with it. You know what, and if it comes out a little bit on the blotchy side, so be it. Just holding that around the edges, and we're going to just pop that onto the stamp, and then I'm going to use this scrap paper here to then press over that. Okay, so you want to be nice, firm and even pressure all over that. Just some grid paper or copy paper or whatever you've got. Okay, So when you think you've got that well covered, let's put that to one side. We can use our tweezers and lift that up. That looks like it's transferred beautifully. Oh, you can see that. That's brilliant. Okay, so I can just lift that off and get that over there. Okay, so I didn't want to hold it with my fingers to lift it off, but I'm just going to reposition these tweezers into a portion where I can hold it a little bit more firmly. And then we'll scatter some more of this powder over the top. Oh, that looks amazing. That is so cool. So it looks like you're using loads of powder, but all this is going to go back into the tub. Okay. I'm going to tap off some of the excess, but not too much. Don't want to be too brutal with it, because otherwise it will knock off. It's only, you know, when I say it's a sticky ink, it's not a glue. Okay. It's just tacky. Just holding on to that. Okay. I just want that to not be just don't want that to catch there. So where did that little brush go? There it is. Okay, and if you wanted to just reposition that, you can. So I don't think that's just caught there. There we go. Right. Voila. It's got a little bit that's just so I've got a cat that's now decided to do some kind of gymkhana, so if something goes bang in a minute, it's because she's just knocked something off. Right, let's pop that to one side and then get this heated up, which will probably make the cat move, to be fair. Okay. Right, this is going to be loud, so if you need to turn your sound down, then please do. I'm going to hit on the back and on the front to make sure we get all this nicely heated up. Okay. Wow. So I hope you can hear me over the top of that, but I'm just sort of chasing the powder with the heat. And it's just going across. You don't want to stay on the same spot for any length of time, so it can make it go flat and overheat it. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so hopefully you saw that all turn beautiful metallic right before your very eyes. And do you know what? I haven't had much warping on the cardstock. I don't know whether that's a coincidence or not, but anyway. Okay, so that's our beautiful gold sentiment and background. Okay, and we just need to funnel away all this powder before we have a calamity. So let's just make sure we tidy that away, which is another advantage of using this lovely little tray. Okay, and then you can use your little brush to just make sure all that is funneled away, ready for next time. Okay, let's just tidy up a little. Okay, that way, that way, that way. Excellent. Right then, so we want to, you do want to let that cool a little bit. So obviously this one will cool down a lot quicker than the other one. So while that's happening, we can grab those dies that I pulled out. Okay, and like I say, the advantage is I've got 3. So let's use one of them to cut out our sentiment, and that looks about right. And my washi tape's black and gold. There you go. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then because we've only got these little scraps of gold, I'm actually going to use the other 2. You've seen me do this before with a faux layering technique, and normally you'd cut out the die and then cut it in half, but actually I'm going to just cut 2 halves of the die, and then we can then assemble it just as we would have done anyway. So that's how I'm getting around that particular little problem. So as it happens, I mean, this bit's probably big enough, but I just wanted to sort of I only found that bit later on when I was actually rummaging for my scrap paper. So this was the original plan. I was like, right, it's okay, it's fine, we can just do 2 of these and we'll end up with the same effect anyway, because I was going to cut it in half. Okay, so I'm actually going to use all 3 of those dies, and because obviously we've got the larger cutting plate, I can pop those on. I can pop that way, put that way, and we can get those cut through in one pass through the die cut machine. So let's put the top plate on top and roll those through. Look how shiny that is. Okay, so sentiment ready to go. Okay, put that on my magnet, and then I'll have my 2 halves. Which I would have had anyway if I'd have cut it as one and then cut it in half. Okay, put those on the magnet, and we can do our little layering die technique there. Okay, with that. So let's get that done. So I'll use some Stampin' Seal, which is my go-to adhesive. So just on the ends of that, and position that there. So it will just give it that little bit of faux layering. Like so. Okay, and of course we'll pop that up on some dimensionals, won't we? So let's get those on there, nice and ready. I think we're ready to layer this on. So this has cooled down completely now. So, but it has been a little bit. It's bowed, okay, but not. Sometimes when you're heating emboss, it goes very wibbly wobbly. So I'm putting a lot of extra seal on that to make sure we get a good bond. Okay, making sure that's all nice and lined up. And again, that can be a little trickier when things aren't sitting straight. Okay, and again, want to just make sure that that's all nice and well adhered. I'll grab that bone folder there. Just give that a really good rub along the back. Okay, and there we have our wonderful layer, which is going to look, oh, that looks cool. Looks so cool. Okay, Right, before we start sticking things down, let's do a bit of a dry build thing on this. So that's going to look amazing. And I think, so the only other thing I was going to add to this was some of this new metallic trim. Also comes in silver as a 2-pack, and it's lovely and thin. Okay, and it's got like, it almost looks like it's got a stripe on that side. I don't know whether you can see that. Yeah, see, it's got like a different texture in the middle, but on the other side it's just got the metallic look to it. Okay, so it does have a slightly different look to it, but I thought a bit of that wrapped round would be nice as an extra touch and just a simple bow. So let's do we have it further down? Should we do it asymmetric so we've got more of the background? Does the background look better that way? No, that way. It's funny, isn't it, how even though it's random it looks better in certain orientation. So yeah, okay, let's put it about 2/3 of the way then. Okay, gonna need some tape, and I think because it's thin we'll wrap it around a couple of times, I think, because we can. And I think I want this stripier look on it just for some contrast. So we'll just secure that with some tape, and we'll take this round a couple of times and maybe even cross it over. Okay, take that into place and cut that off. Then we want a piece to tie as well. But let's put this onto the card first. Again, that layer is trying to bend this piece of cardstock, so I'm going to put more adhesive than I would do normally on that. It's very strong though. Ooh, got some powdery fingerprints on that, but it will wipe off with a soft cloth. Use a lint-free cloth and it'll be fine. So that looks about right. And again, you want to make sure that that's really well stuck down. Okay. So gorgeous. Okay. So again, you can shuffle that kind of cross along if you wanted to, but I don't think it's going to show that much anyway. And then we can have this positioned on there. So let's put that on next. Now I've got a bit of texture and slick surface going on here, so I think this would benefit from a bit of wet glue as well. So let's just pop some of that on and just sort of try and get that ribbon sort of either side of those. If in doubt, we can pop a block or two on there like so as a little weight. It will just keep it flat while that's adhering. Okay, and then we want to do our bow. Now, double-sided ribbon, well, can be a bit tricky to tie a nice bow with because you want to just have the one side showing. So normally I would use my bunny ear method, and I think I still will. Sometimes it's better, depending on the type of ribbon you've got, you might find that trying to do a traditional bow, as in wrapping it round, may give you a better effect. But what I've just tried to do there is just twist that tail round to make sure I get the side that I want showing on that. Otherwise, if that had tied, let it tie naturally, that would have been the other way around. But just doing that extra little twist before I tightened it, means that it's the right way around. Okay, and so this is a sort of one of those stiffer kind of ribbons, because it's got this metallic thread in it. It's not a natural material, so you may need to just manipulate it a little bit to make it sit nice. Okay, and that loop looks a little bigger than that one just because of the way it's sitting. Okay, so you can mess about and faff about with that. You don't want that crease in it. You don't want it to look like it's been squished, even though it has really. Okay, I think that will do. And of course we'll use a glue dot for that. It's only going to have a little tiny knot on it. So if we press that onto there, we can pop that into place so that it's not obscuring the sentiment too much. And of course we'll give those tails a bit of a trim. So we'll trim those to about there, so that they're the same length, but as long as they can be. And that's about it then, isn't it? Could add a few sequins or gems as well, just to sort of, you know, if you're going to do a blingy card, you're going to do a blingy card, yeah. You've got these little foil things, which have got the clear, they're kind of clear with like the gold. I think they're called foil gems actually, aren't they? Iridescent foil gems they're called, but there's definitely some gold in there. Now I'm thinking that because they've got a clear base, they're going to take on, yeah they are, yeah, okay, so they're going to look cool. Don't know whether it must be the way they're manufactured. Some are got more gold in them than others, by the looks of it. So I'm just going for ones that look similar. So that's super subtle in real life actually, but of course it's another thing to draw the recipient's eye when you give it to them. Obviously you'll have to put a lighter coloured cardstock. You could even use wild wheat as a panel to write on. Okay, and those just sort of blend in. I don't know whether you can see that very well. They kind of look a bit more opaque on camera, I think, but they're cool. Okay, so take it or leave it. You didn't have to bling those up at all, but there's some options for you anyway. And that is my very simple black and gold card. I suspect you're going to see a lot of heat embossing and use of metallic cardstock in this video hop. Okay, but how gorgeous is it? I mean, who doesn't love some heat embossing? It's just magic. Card making magic, that is. Okay. Right, so that's it from me. So obviously don't forget, please do click those links and give everybody some thumbs up, likes, comments, subscribes. We're all trying to build up our channel. I'm edging ever so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So it'd be really great if you could share this video with people who you think might like it too. And please do share all the other videos, okay? Thanks for joining me today. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.